Hey there YouTube, Robottodd here with an $800 PC build. For the CPU I went with the Intel Core i5 4460 LGA 1150 processor. It operates at 3.2 GHz and turbos to 3.4 GHz. This is a low wattage processor, I think in about the mid 80s, and should be easy to keep cool, therefore it can work off the stock cooler, keeping costs down. There is a 3-year warranty and the reviews are just excellent across the board. For the motherboard, I went with the Gigabyte G1 Sniper Z97. Obviously, this board has an LGA 1150 CPU socket. It also has 4 RAM slots, expandable up to 32 gigabytes, and a Gigabyte Ethernet controller, which is a plus. My last 3 builds have been Gigabyte boards, and all 3 have lived through BIOS updates, BIOS tweaks, and processor upgrades, and I haven't seen a single one fail or have any issues yet. So I'm a little bit biased towards Gigabyte, especially at this price to performance mark here. Since this board supports Core i7 processors, we have room to bump our i5 to an i7, and that is a big plus for this sort of build. It also supports a lot of different DDR3 memory. For the RAM, speaking of which, I went with the G-Skill Ripjaws X series. This is a 2 8 gig sticks for a total of 16 gigs. G-Skill has always performed really well for me, and though I've never had to replace any of the products, I've also heard that their customer service is pretty good, so that's always a plus. For the GPU, the graphics was, well, it was a bit hard to pick here at this price point. I went with the XFX Radeon R7 370. It's a 4 GB card, 256-bit memory interface. This is a higher bit interface than some of the other cards I was looking at, so it allows more data to be transferred per clock cycle, so it has a bit of an edge there. Storage is a simple choice. Went with the Western Digital's blue 1 TB hard drive. It's a 7200 RPM SATA, 6 gigabit per second, and 64 megabytes of cache. I chose this over the Seagate version because it just simply doesn't die as often. And I need a hard drive that'll at least last a year in a build and not have as many opportunities to die, and that's just how the story goes for the Seagate. So I went with Western Digital on this. For the case, well, it's kind of a no-brainer at this price point, $800. I went with NZXT's S340 mid-tower case build. It's a good price, it's well built steel, and has an incredible aesthetic quality that is just really hard to find at this price point. It comes already ready to go with liquid cooling being able to be added in right away, and you don't have to pay for any extra case modifications or parts or anything that from the manufacturer, so that's really good. And it comes in 2 different colors, white being a big thing for me because it's hard to find white cases. So that's another big plus in this pick. For the PSU, I went with EVGA Supernova series, the 650 watt G2. This is a fully modular PSU. It's 80 plus gold rated efficiency, and it has eco mode, which is a really nice setting, which will allow us to basically have the PSU run at a low load, and the fan won't kick on and make a bunch of noise. 650 watts is a bit overkill for this build, but we need a power supply that will give us room to grow as we add in maybe more RAM or another graphics card, or if we upgrade our CPU from, say, the i5 to the i7. Do you like this build? Are you curious about any other kind of builds? Do you have any other sort of questions? The total for this is $799.93 due to the instant savings on Newegg. There's no mail-in rebates for these parts, but we hit the $800 mark perfectly. So thanks for watching, everybody.
I'm a good friend.